Bonjour classe. Aujourd'hui c'est mardi le 2 octobre. This is what we did yesterday. Actually, I'm pretending that today is Tuesday because I forgot to do the video yesterday after school. Okay, so the first thing we did was we went to our warm-ups. Notice I'm clicking on my website. All right, and we wrote the times out in number form because we've been learning how to tell time in French. Il est 6h05 would be 5H05. I mean, not 5H, 6H05, just like we did here. So we did this, and then we answered the question at that time, what time it was. Okay, so that was the warm-up. And then we went through and we reviewed how to tell time by going over the notes on page 130. So we finished taking our notes on page 130 of our textbook. Okay, so this was page 130. I just went through here and I continued to give notes. We reviewed how to write the time in number form the way the French people do with the H instead of the colon. We talked about how to add écart for a quarter after, and that it's the same as using the number for 15. We talked about, again, reviewing how to say it's half past the hour using et demi. That would replace the number 30. We talked about also that when we use minuit and midi, minuit being midnight, midi being noon, and we want to say it's half past midnight or half past noon, we have to take the E off of demi because minuit and midi are masculine. So il est minuit et demi without the E. But when we go back to any of the other times, we have to add the E back on because heure is feminine. Another thing that we talked about was heure has an S at the end of it for every hour except one. And that's common sense because there's only 1 hour, so you don't need to add an S at the end of heure. Another thing that we talked about was when we want to say it's 1 o'clock, we say il est une heure. All right, une, U-N-E, because heure, again, is feminine, so we have to use the feminine form of 1, which is une. So then we reviewed a little bit about moins le quart and how that means it's 15 minutes before the next hour, or a quarter till, which is the same as saying 45, after the hour. So, il est 3h moins le quart, it's a quarter to 3, is the same as saying il est 14h45, it's 2:45. This actually is the 24-hour clock, which is something else we talked about. We said that when we want to use the 24-hour clock, we have to add 1 to every hour. So let's just take this little clock here. For example, we have a 12. If we want to say 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we can say 1300 hours because 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 heures. If we want to say 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the military time or 24-hour clock, we have to add 2. 12 plus 2 is 14, so 14 heures. And then we went around like that. And this would be 15, 16 heures, 17 heures, 18 heures, 19 heures, 20, 21 heures, 22 heures, 23 heures, 24 heures. And that 24 heures, 2400 is the same as saying midnight. And then, of course, it starts over again with 1. 1 through 11, or 12, or 1 through 11 being morning hours, and 12 through 24 being the afternoon and evening hours. And that is how the French distinguish between morning and afternoon and evening if they don't use the tags like de l'après-midi and du matin. So we talked about minutes after, and we talked a little bit about how you can say minutes till, but not a whole lot. We also wrote down à quelle heure, meaning at what time, and how to say that something's happening at a certain time by using a. So that's basically what we did. We finished taking our notes, and we practiced saying what our schedule was. Au revoir, bonne journée.